Okay, here we are. We're going to do some distributive property. Okay, here we go. All right, it's just math, y'all. The distributive property, basically we're multiplying a number by a sum is equal to multiplying each number and then adding the products. This is a way to kind of override the order of operations. So I have several examples here. So copy them down, stop the video, try them, and then turn the video back on to see if you got them correct. All right, so let's see if we can do these. All right, so now the way I explain this is very different than somebody else might explain it, so please pay attention. I do use the little rainbow technique, and so here we go. This is 3 times the parentheses. It's 3 multiplied by everything in the parentheses. So it's 3 times x, which is 3x, and it's 3 times y, which we call 3y. And so it's a plus y, so it's a 3 plus 3y. So that's it. That's all you're doing. That's a rewrite. That's all you did. Rewrite using the distributive property. Okay, so the second one, 7 times the parentheses m plus 2. So that's 7 times m and 7 times 2. And that's it. That's just rewriting. There's nothing else you can do at this point. We'll get to that in the next lessons, 1.7. Okay, now this is a -3. Remember your positive and negative rules when it comes to multiplying. Okay, positive and negative rules when it comes to multiplying. So this is a -3 times 4, which is a -12x, and -3. Whoa, why is it doing that? That's so strange. I'm not liking that at all. Okay, so -3 times 7, which is a -21. There you go. Okay, so now this next one has a fraction, and again, once again, let me remind you, I've asked you to do fractions. Okay, now you can do them on your calculator, or you can watch what I do and learn from what I do. But remember, you always have your calculator, hopefully, to back you up. So I'm going to pull out a little scratch paper over here. I always like to put my scratch paper in my margins so that everybody can see what I'm doing, but it's scratch paper. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a -4/3 times 18. So a -4/3 times 18, again, that'll be 18 over 1. Now, if you'll remember, one of the ways to do multiplying the fraction is to factor that. So I'm going to make that a 3 times 6 because I have a 3 I want it to cancel with. And I get a -24 over 1. All right, so this first one is going to be -24y. All right, so now we'll do the second multiplication. Oops, oh, goodness. The second multiplication, which is going to be a -4/3 times 21 over 1. Again, I'm going to do it the same way I did the other one. I'm going to change that to a 3 times 7 so that my 3's can go away, and I get a -28 over 1, because remember, when they go away, they turn into 1's. All right, so this is going to be a -28. Is that a Y? That is a Y. That's not supposed to be a Y. Let me change that. That's supposed to be a Z. There you go. It's supposed to be a Z. Check your homework. I think it's a Z. Okay. So again, the distributive property at work, but you have to be able to multiply whatever they give you. The distributive property is multiply, and you have to be able to multiply what they give you. Use your calculator for backup if you need to. Okay. So now this next problem down here, this is a negative, or subtract, which one is a negative. We can call it a negative. And it doesn't look like the distributive. Well, people call this distributing a negative. Distribute a negative. Okay, and basically it's a -1. Put a 1 on there and then do the multiplication. So that's going to give you a -7f, because -1 times +7 is -7. And that'll give me a -8y, because a -1 times a positive 8 is a negative 8. Okay, same thing with this next one, distributing a negative. That's a negative 1, we'll go back to my scratch word, times a negative 4, which is a positive 4. This will be 4g, and that one will be a positive 3x. Okay, remember the first one doesn't need a positive in front. That's the way it works. Okay, this next one, that'll give me a negative 12m, a positive 6n, and a negative 15p. I did 3 times 4, or should I say I did a negative 3 times 4. That's where the negative 12 came from. I did a negative 3 times a negative 2. That's where the positive 6 came from. And I did a negative 3 times a 5, and that's where the negative 15 came from. This is all scratch work. You don't even need it. You don't need to write it. Now, if you were to look this problem up on one of those cheating sites, oh my heavens, I challenge you to go ahead and just do that and see what chaos they try to get you to do. Okay? Maybe it makes more sense to you, but to me, this makes more sense. So it's just math, y'all. Keep pushing through. I'm going to come back and we'll start section 1-7.